Welcome back to Podiatry Marketing. I'm your host, Jim McDannald, joined as always by my trusty co-host, Tyson Franklin. Tyson, how's it going today?
I'm fantastic today, Big Jim. It is sunny. What was that TV show? Sunny in Philadelphia? Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Is that what it's called?
Yep, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're always sunny in Cairns when it's not raining.
Excellent.
And we had a lot of rain over the summer. So as we head out of summer, which is not too far away, it will start to ease off. And then we go into autumn or your fall, and North Queensland gets beautiful. But anyway, let's just dive straight
Let's do
into
it.
today's topic.
Sure. What are we going to talk about today?
Okay. I could have called this, don't be a cheap ass, but I thought, no, let's be professional. Let's not call it that. I'm calling this, what's the best, not the cheapest? And this has come about because, I'm on a lot of Facebook groups with podiatrists and other professions, but especially in podiatry lately, I've had a lot of people, they'll ask a question to the group and they'll say, what's your cheaper alternative for, it might be something they're already using or something they're considering. The most recent one was a practice management program. And the person said, oh, I'm currently using this program. And it might have been, say, Front Desk or Prac Suite, something like that. And they said how much it costs them per month. And they asked the group, is there something cheaper that I can use? And all these people were throwing out all these other programs. And I thought that was fine. But I thought before you just go and change, I think what's really important is you should ask yourself, what is the best program for your business, for you, and for your patients? Not what is the cheapest. And I think is a really big distinction because you might save, say, $400, which is not a huge amount of money. But are you losing important features just to save $400? And this is something we were talking about off air, where sometimes podiatrists just are a little bit cheap.
Well, it's also you're losing out on the switching costs, right? If you're going to switch from one software to another, there's going to have to be time where you're going to have to learn new and different ways of utilizing that
Yeah.
software, and then also your staff. So your staff might have to be retrained. You might have to have that software company, run you through some different tutorials, or maybe even come on site if you switch. So yeah, the price is definitely something to be considered of, but also think about the other potential costs or money you might be spending if you do switch to this, cheaper software.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I've totally forgot about that, just about the amount of time and effort that goes into retraining your team members. But from another side of it, it's also, you might go to something cheaper, which is great. But when you talk about what features are you losing, I know what the program that I used to use. I knew all the marketing capabilities it had, what the communication capabilities were, and I absolutely loved it. And I said, if I set up a clinic tomorrow, that would be the one that I would use straight away. Because I deal with different coaching clients who have different programs, and I talk to them what they can do. And sometimes I'll ask them, oh, can you print this report for me? Or can you do this? And they go, oh, no, our program doesn't do that. I'm like, oh, okay. So don't just look at what the cheapest program is. Let's look at all the features that come with it. And does it cover the things that you actually need? So if you're going to save $400, but all of a sudden there's very limited marketing features or very limited communication features, you'd be better to spend the extra $400 and make sure you get the features that can help you market your business better.
I've seen this a lot with kind of electronic medical records in the US, right? The people are unhappy with it. It takes a lot of time. They feel like they're wasting time doing charting or billing in their electronic medical record. And one way to try to combat that is that, I don't think these electronic medical record companies like want you to have a bad experience. But if you are
Yeah.
and you're kind of sitting on Facebook or you're in these groups kind of moaning and kind of complaining about it, they're not going to have access to what your concerns are, what's not working for you. So there is a path where you can either coordinate it or collaborate with software. They want to know what are the pain points of podiatrists and physicians. So there are opportunities within that software corporation to build a collaborative partnership with them where you're helping them improve their software. Maybe you're an expert that's like one little area you don't like so much. Maybe you could ask them, hey, like, I know that this is an area that's a problem in my practice. Is there ways that you guys are working on it to improve that? And then also you can kind of be an ambassador for that software as well. I've seen, different people working with different EMRs and able to get, sometimes these EMRs in the US, they'll charge a percentage. They can charge
Yeah.
8% of revenue or something, and on a monthly basis or whatever it comes into the practice. But if you become a partner or kind of an ambassador for their software, maybe they're willing to slash that in half. So there are ways to save money besides just switching software all the time, and you should really explore some ways to help make the software better before you decide to just jump ship without kind of expressing, what's not working for you with them.
Yeah. And I think another thing, if you're looking at various software programs, and even though this episode's not really about software, but it is all part about, better before cheaper, is send the companies that you're thinking about, send them an email. How long does it take for them to get back to you? Phone them up. And does somebody actually answer the phone, or does it go through to like a message bank? How long does it take before someone gets back to you? Because to me, it's also it's the after sales. They might have a great lot of features. You go, this is fantastic. But if something goes wrong, you want to know that you've got a number that you can call. And I've seen some software programs where there is no phone number. Everything is done purely virtual. And if you're buying software that may actually be an overseas company too, sometimes they've got someone there, but not during your working hours. So if the shit hits the fan, you might be in trouble for a few hours before somebody actually comes online. So that was just about software. But another thing that was I've seen regular in Facebook groups is, how much should I spend on a website? And that's like asking, how long is a piece of string, because it depends what it is that you're actually after. But some podiatrists say, oh, no, you can just do it yourself. It'll only cost you $250. Or, oh, my 14-year-old son did my website and it cost me nothing. And to me, I reckon that shows a complete lack of understanding of how a website functions and the purpose of the website. It's not just about whacking something up there that's got your name and email address. There's so much more to it, which is why, I have friends that have said, I could dig out my own ingrown toenail, but instead I choose to use a health professional that specializes in that. So I just think it is so important.
Yeah, I think it's part of in the marketing of different tools and kind of ways, website builders out there, right? You have things like Squarespace or Wix, and they're very popular, and they can kind of tout how easy it is to make your own website. But, so I think enough of us have experience on the internet where we feel like we are kind of experts because we're playing around and we're, surfing around the internet all the time. So we've seen websites, and now there's these tools that
Yeah.
make it easier, and anyone can kind of, build your own website. But even, some of the larger marketing agencies that kind of create kind of cookie cutter websites for people. If you're really looking for an authentic, genuine, professional, you know, first experience and the kind of first impression on a patient, you really have to have that, the brand and the quality there. Because if you have a crappy website, anyone that jumps on that website is going to think it's going to be a crappy clinic. And, that's really hard to recover from. It's funny, but it's true. I know I look at some websites that look like they're built in 1995, and I wonder, you know, is it just because there's an older practitioner there? Is it just that they choose not to spend money there? It puts a lot of questions into your mind. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're, a bad doctor or a bad podiatrist, but you just kind of wonder, obviously I see a lot of websites, so I may be a little bit biased, but you just kind of wonder what the thinking is behind not really showing your best face in public online, with some of these clinics that, you can really tell they're kind of skimping on, that huge opportunity to make a great first impression.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to the website too, some of the comments I saw that were posted, somebody said, I put my website up there 10 years ago, have not touched it since, and it works fantastic. I'm like, I'll tell you right now, it is not working fantastic. You might think just because it's there, but that same person who made that comment, because what I love, it's the same people that comment a lot. And that same person then commented something about, I know I'm booked out 2 or 3 months ahead. It's like a badge of honor. I'm booked out 2 or 3 months ahead. To me, when someone's booked out 2 or 3 months ahead, it means you don't know how to control your appointment book very well. But that same person says, but my website works great. Well, how do you know? If you're booked out 2 or 3 months ahead with just general foot care, routine foot care, and you're not getting any new biomechanical patients coming in, but that's what you want, then your website's not doing what you should. But that's the thing. That's why, to me, you talk to someone who is a professional doing websites. Like if somebody needs orthotics, should they see a podiatrist or just go down the local shoe store and get the 16-year-old kid to whack in some inserts? It's exactly the same thing. So other areas where I see people try and get cheap. Yeah. Who can do my Google ads for me? Cheap. Or this was one that came up the other day. Oh, I'm thinking about using this young girl to do all my social media stuff. She only charges $400 or $500 a month. Is that good? And I'm like, my God, do you really have to ask those questions?
Well, when you don't know what you don't know, right? Like,
Yeah.
and the kind of quantity over quality. People. Oh, I've had 10, Facebook posts or 10 Instagram posts in the last week. It's great for my practice. I'm doing or I do a blog post, once a week. Isn't that great? And it's, well, what is the quality? What are you trying to go for with that? What is there, adequate SEO, or is our purpose behind what you're doing, and is it extending the brand? And I think it kind of relates to both this situation and in the previous comments. It's like your clinic is open from 8 to 5 every day, and you have an opportunity then to kind of be professional, see people in real life, and make an impression to maybe,
Mm.
get referrals and extend the professionalism and expertise in your local area. Your website and your digital marketing and your social media is open 24/7, and people are on those devices all the time. And if you're not treating it in a professional way, if you're not seriously considering quality over quantity, and just kind of making it be kind of an online home for what you're doing, you're really missing the boat. And this should be a way to get these online referrals. But yeah, I'm speaking to the choir here, but because you understand, but it is one of those things where it doesn't have to be a race to the bottom. These things should be providing new patient visits or recall patient visits. So if it's bringing in ten to $15,000 a month because you're doing these things, it makes sense that they cost a few $1,000s.
Yeah, it's funny because when I've spoken to someone who said, "Oh yeah, I'm thinking about using this young girl for $500 a month," and you ask the question, "Okay, so when you met with her and she spoke about your ideal patient, your patient avatar, what did you tell her?" "Oh no, well, no, she didn't ask me anything about that." "Does she know what you love about podiatry and the things you dislike about podiatry?" "No." "Does she know what a podiatrist is?" Because there are all these questions that if you get someone who's really young, and they might be great when it comes to social media for a young person on social media, but can they put together a marketing campaign that is going to actually be a benefit to your podiatry business? And another common one that I saw recently was, does anyone know a cheap accountant? Well, I didn't know there's any such thing as a cheap accountant because mine's not cheap. And that was a good one. The response from that one, a lot of the people were actually saying, you get what you pay for when it comes to your accountant. If you want to skimp on your accountant, then by all means go and do that. But a few people posted the fees of what their accountants charge. And I was like, yeah, that's good. Most of them didn't skimp on that, which was fantastic. But yeah, of course, and I don't mean that just because something is more expensive doesn't mean that it's always better. But usually there's a reason why it's more expensive. So just because it costs more doesn't mean it's better. You can get something that is cheaper that might be better for you, your practice, and your patients, regardless of whether it's social media, websites, an accountant. It's really, just because it's more expensive doesn't mean it's better. But I also think like attracts like. So if you've got a really cheap ass mindset, you're just cheap. You were born cheap, you live cheap, you just act cheap. To me, it's reflected in nearly everything that you do. I will guarantee that these people have got this really cheap mindset. If you went and had a look through the clinic, it'll be the cheapest furniture, cheap carpet. It's probably got, starting to look a bit worn, cheap furniture. I was looking at somebody's website the other day. It wasn't their website. They posted some photos of some before and after photos of their clinic. I couldn't tell. I said, wife, can you tell me which one's which? I said, I can't tell the difference. She looked and said, I can't tell either. And I went, they've done this big renovation. I don't know what they did. A few posters seemed to be moved, and they took a cheap poster and replaced it with another cheap poster. There was like blue tacked on the wall. So, but I think if you have a cheap mindset, and I'm not trying to upset anybody here. if anyone's listening to this and going, oh, Tyson, you are an asshole. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get you to think, is stop going cheap. Is just think about it, because if that's what you're doing, you're going to attract patients with the same cheap mindset, because like attracts like. And I know when I invested a lot of money into my business, and we always had the motto, better before cheaper. And that was reflected in the type of patients that saw us. But there's always going to be, and if you heard these people, Jim, called freeple.
It's a interesting little moniker there.
Yeah, freeple are people that all they ever want is free advice. So they'll jump on the different groups and they will post questions. It could be about business coaching. It could be about marketing. This is a classic one you see. I've just opened up a new business. Could someone give me some really good marketing tips on attracting new patients? Now, if I could reach through the screen and slap them with the back of my hand, I would, but you can't. And there's people out there that all they want is cheap advice. They're cheaper than the people that, or freeple are people that want free stuff. They don't even want the cheapest. They just want it free. And they do it in so many different areas. And I'm thinking, if you're getting free advice from somewhere, it will only take you so far. At a certain point, you must spend money if you want to elevate the quality of the advice you're getting. You could have podiatry friends that can give you advice, but it'll only go so far until eventually they'll get sick of you asking them, especially if it's chewing a lot of their time and they're busy in their own practices.
I think that's true with any kind of even advice or things you find on the internet these days. I think a lot of marketing information out there is related to medium or large size businesses. And when small local podiatry clinics try to incorporate some of these things into their practice and they don't work, it leads to kind of a vicious cycle of believing that either the marketing doesn't work or, all that stuff is out there on the internet. All I have to do is just follow what, this kind of this information that's out there. But until there's some context and it's individualized, in a way that is, reproducible, or a clinic's able to take action either but themselves or with someone that they work with, that's where the real value comes in, right? Information
Mm.
is out there, plentiful, whatever, but until you really know something individualized for your own practice and your own way of doing things, the free information is that. It's just stuff that it really is not going to get you anywhere.
Yeah, and there's a final thing I want to say is just price is what you pay, value is what you get. So at the end of the day, it's the value you get. So if you're after free information, you feel you're getting so much value out of that and it's changing your life, then just keep doing that. If you're using cheaper programs, just cheaper with everything, but you feel you're getting value for the money that you're spending and you're happy doing that, then just do it. I'm not telling anyone to change. I'm just saying, just be aware. Are you cutting corners in different areas just to save a few dollars? But is that being reflected in who you are as a podiatrist and your business? So I think I've pretty well covered that before I get too much more.
You're fired up,
Before I
fired
get
up
too,
this week.
too fired up. Oh no, it's just one of these things that I've been in this profession for 35 years, and I remember in 1988 graduating. I look at some of the podiatry clinics in 1988, and you move ahead 35 years, and some of them look exactly the same. They have not changed. They have not evolved. They are still doing everything the way they did it 35 years ago, and some of them probably prior to that. Then I see other ones that are just doing amazing things in the profession. Their clinics are fantastic. To say to someone that's a podiatry clinic, I'm proud to say I'm a podiatrist because that's a podiatry clinic. But I see others and I just go, God damn, no. Oh, no, I'm a carpet cleaner. Because I look at the podiatry and go, I would hate to tell people I'm a podiatrist and they look at that and think that's what I used to do. So knowing there's so many people there that are trying to elevate the profession, if everybody just tried to elevate it a little bit more and stop trying to tear it down by being cheap, I think we'll all be better off. So that's all I've got to say, Jim.
All right, that sounds good, Tyson.
Okay, I look forward to talking to you next week.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, bye.
Bye now.